So, Yasmine and the Euphoria, thanks very much for finding time to join us on this splendid sunny evening.
Thank you for having us. We're excited to be interviewed.
Yeah.
It's great because I mean you're getting some coverage. You know you're on Keep Cardiff Live today. I think there was a spelling error somebody put on there. Was that right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it wasn't me.
No, so a lot of the times with my name's in the title. So yeah, the E is silent, so many people forget it, but it's
Yeah.
still there. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'll get in touch with. I'll sack the person involved. You know, they'll be out of a job by tomorrow. So.
No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Yeah, no, it's absolutely fine. But yeah, I've just put on the Facebook page now that we've been featured on the blog today. So it's very nice to have support from you guys because it's the first time that we've made a feature on your blog as well. So.
Yeah, well, of course, the idea there was, I think were you involved with CMF as well? I think you probably were, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then of course we had the Create Vinyl Sampler, and what we did with the site, which I think is a really good idea, is to feature. Well, we featured 10 tracks actually over 10 days, and then you know the idea is then hopefully the bands will all cross promote each other because you're all kind of young, trendy, you know, whiz kids and whatever with massive followings. You know, hopefully the idea is you all co-promote each other is a general idea. I recognize most of you. I think I've seen you around, most of you around the atrium where I work.
Yeah.
So let's try and see. My first thing I've got now is a memory test. So let me just see now. Max?
Yep, that's the one. Yeah.
Sweat. Run. So I think I did a gig with you when you were in a band. Also, maybe Jack as well. Maybe
yeah, I've done a gig with you. Yeah,
at the Brass Bat, I think it was a long time ago. And Max can't remember, which is probably for the best. But and I think there were more musicians in there than people. You know, there was like no one in there. It was dark as hell, but. The sound guy did a good job, and it was kind of good fun. The idea was great, but it wasn't particularly well attended. But a good gig as I remember it. And have you all come through the University of South Wales route? All of you, yeah? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, I'll ask Jack on this one then. How did you? I know it's an obvious question, but with the university thing, because you were on I guess you were all on was it popular music course you were on or something like this?
Contemporary music performance.
Okay, and were you all on that course together?
Yeah.
So, and this might be totally wrong, but I know what I quite like about the way those courses are run. I'm sure I think this happened with you as well, because I think I did a module with you actually in the first year, where they kind of they put you into bands. You know, this is a singer, this is a bass player, this is a guitarist. I hope in my fanciful dreams the answer would be yes, but I doubt it is. Is that how this came about, Jack?
Partly, I think it was me and Yasmine in the band that you recorded. I think we'd done a Destiny Child song, and then I think, but like we've been like, because we jam anyway in like lessons anyway, so like us three at some point jammed. I think Yasmine kind of sussed everyone out, being like, "Can you write songs? Do you write songs?" I said, "Back off, Yaz." I didn't. I said, "Yes, please." And yeah, it's nice because Yasmine started like writing songs before we were even a band, and then eventually we just came together as a band. It's really nice.
And Yasmine, how did you come up with the name? Was that? Did you come up with that name?
No, so funny enough, Jack came up with a name. I think we spoke for like weeks on weeks as anybody does. I think when you're starting a band and you got to get a name.
Yeah.
About like, were we going to be one of the somethings, or were we going to be the something and the something? And I think we all just kind of mutually decided that we liked the idea of it being something and the something band. Kind of like me and Jack kind of got along so well because we had a mutual love of Jimi Hendrix, and obviously
well done.
Thanks. We had Jimi Hendrix and the Experience, Florence and the Machine as an influence of mine anyway. And yeah, we liked that kind of sound. And then Jack was like, well, why don't we go for, we shot a lot of different ideas back and forth. But then I think it was Jack, I think it was you, Jack, that said about Yasmine and then he came up with the rest of it as well. So yeah, Jack's the mastermind behind that. To be honest, I I don't care very much for my name being in it. I think it's quite an interesting thing to have your name on merch and things like that, which is,
well,
I
you know,
solo artists.
In the future, you can bin them and just do your solo tour, can't you?
Nah, I don't think I'll do it. I don't think I'll do a Stevie Nicks with these guys. They're too good. They make up a lot of the music as well. See, like Jack and myself do a lot of the co-writing, and everybody writes their own parts and contributes. So I don't think there's any. Also, I don't think I like being on stage solo. I just never have.
Karaoke and Kings.
Slightly different environment, but fair enough.
A little bit.
Max, the word euphoria is, that just, such a great word to come up with.
It is.
What was the thinking behind that? How did you finally sort of settle on that?
All right. Well, I think euphoria is kind of, I would say it like defines our sound. Like it's very dreamy and very sort of like out there and like very ambient, and like that's sort of like what that word means to me. And I think it's a very us word, I think.
So you feel it's appropriate, and did you grow into the name, or did you think, yeah, that's us straight away, sort of thing?
I think I kind of grew into the name. Like I wasn't like a big fan of it to begin with, because I thought it was like very mouthy. Like there was a lot of words, but like now, like yeah, I think it kind of sort of it does define us as a band, and I think it sort of, I feel like it makes sense. I think
it's kind of alongside the, I don't know who does the artwork for your stuff. Is that any of you, or I don't know, but the kind of the iconography you use is very kind of like towards psychedelic, and it's quite along with the name, it conjures up all kinds of images.
That's really lovely to hear, actually, because the artist that worked on our logo, his name is James Radford, and his wife is a photographer. She's Cardiff based, and they're kind of like a great little duo. She does photography, which the cover of our EP was done by Kitty Kem's Photography, who is his wife. So it was kind of like a nice little family unit, helped us create what we have, which I would say is quite like familial, and like we're all very close. So yeah, it was nice to have and they're close friends, like personal friends of my family as well. So it's quite nice having people that are around me, especially like support us in such a big way by doing artwork and things like that. And a big influence for that artwork actually was, it was taken from the same book that Jimi Hendrix and The Experience created his logo out of. And
Wow.
I sent a bunch of different logos over to him, stuff like Fleetwood Mac's, Jimi Hendrix, let me think, the Eagles, just like big 60s, 70s rock. I think like that's a big placeholder in all of our hearts.
Yeah.
Era, like David Bowie as well. And it all had that big, large, bold lettering, but it was kind of, like you said, psychedelic in a way. So I think that's definitely a vibe that we emulate towards.
Well, it comes across, I mean, looking at your Facebook stuff, to be honest with you, I try to find out, I'm interviewing Yasmine the Euphoria, so I better find out something about them, but it's like you're like a mystery. There's not hardly anything about there. You got your links to your stuff, your Spotify and your Instagram and everything else, but I could really find very little at all about you as a band. So I just picked up on the kind of psychedelic vibe in the imagery, and also the nod towards the kind of, I suppose a little bit towards kind of the better stuff in the 70s. I mean, people like Bowie, for example, and your cover, which you did recently, there's the kind of, I don't know whether you put it together with Zoom or how you did it. I don't think it was Zoom. I think you did something else, but you put together that Moon Age Daydream track. And I mean, I love that song anyway. And it's nice to hear a female vocal on it, actually. What was the thinking behind choosing that particular Bowie song to go with, Yasmine?
I think we all just, Ellie is probably the biggest Bowie fan in the band, and I think that we all try to think of, I mean, it's not necessarily that we think that we sound anything like Bowie's music, it's just that we think that we could lend ourselves to it, I think, and it's such a great song. And
yeah.
I think when we're trying to pick covers, and if you're going to put a cover in the set, you've got to make sure that it meshes. But when you do it online, you don't necessarily have to make it mesh because you're not playing it in a set. You can just pop it up and it's a standalone piece. So yeah, I think we all just love that song. It's personally to me, that song has a lot of memories attached to it with a lot of close friends of mine love that song. So it was kind of like, when Ellie suggested doing it, I was like, yeah, absolutely. Like, I'd be so happy to sing that song. And Bowie's range is quite high naturally. So
yes,
we don't really have to change anything other than putting our own spin to it.
I mean, if we look at the as a guitarist, Jack, if we look through the Bowie songbook, I don't know if you've ever done that yet, but if we look through the songs, can we try this one? Could try that one. Some of the chords in those songs are absolutely insane. They're ridiculous, you know.
Bowie's like style of like writing songs, because it seems like he has, say, like 2 or 3 ideas and just puts them into a song. Whether I don't know, they work amazingly anyway. But yeah, it's wicked.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably, you know, he is one of the greatest kind of songwriters, certainly of his generation, you know, without any shadow of a doubt. And if you're going to take on a Bowie song, you know, you need to sort of get it together. And again, you know, with all of you really, to some extent, but with Yasmine, with that kind of flailing hair going off and all the rest of it, you know, it was full on kind of cosmic, you know, psychedelic postmodern version of a Bowie song. And again, that comes across. How did you go about putting that together, Max, in terms of creating that video? Did you sort of, you know, you did your bit and passed it on, or how did it work?
Yeah, well, because we pretty much, all of us have like a way of recording ourselves. Actually, I didn't at the time. I had to borrow. Yasmine was using mine because me and Yasmine lived together in Cardiff, but I had to go back. So she was using mine because I stupidly left my interface there, but I had to borrow interface from my friend. But yeah, we all recorded our own individual parts.
You started off with the drum track, did you?
Yeah, Ellie did the mid. She's got an electric drum kit, so she played the drums at her house, all like MIDI,
headphoned up and whatever.
Yeah, and then she sent it off to Jack, who Jack did his guitar parts, and then sent it off to me, and I did my bass parts, and then
I actually recorded only to Ellie's drum track because we were kind of in a bit of a rush for this one. I think when we wanted to get it out as soon as possible, because I think we were all really excited. But Ellie plays keys on it as well, doesn't she?
Okay.
So it was a matter of getting through the verse without the melody. So I was just try to stay in tune. And then by the time we got to the chorus, then with her kind of guide, like the keys kind of coming in, I was like, oh, there's the melody again. But yeah, it came together quite well. We're very, very proud of that and the video, which was edited by Ellie as well.
Okay, so she's good in that area as well, yeah.
Yeah.
And did you get a good reaction to that? Or did you get, you know, because you got a pretty good following, you something like 1,200 Facebook followers, etc.
I'd say so. Oh, Jack, do you remember how many we
I think like in a week we had like, I can't remember. It was like
just under 3,000.
Really?
Was it?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
And that was a YouTube link or something, was it you did? I don't know.
We literally just put it on Facebook. We do have plans to put things onto YouTube. We've got more videos that we're working on. Because at the moment, I guess the big challenge is staying relevant and staying in people's minds so that they don't forget about us when the music scene does come back and we go.
Yes, and I think, you know, the point you're making there is, you know, is so valid. Even with, you know, Boris, bless him, making his decisions today, or his government's decisions, it's still going to be a long rocky ride until we're back up and running. And it doesn't matter if you're a successful touring act or whether you guys where you're still kind of, you get in there, you know, it's still, no one can play. So, you know, everything's up in the air. You say, Jack, you write the original stuff mostly with Yasmine, and then the other guys add their bits. So I hope that's okay to say that. So what kind of, you know, 'cause it's nice that you came from that Hendrix background and all the rest of it. What kind of inspires your writing? How did the song start? Do you just come up with an idea, say, Yasmine, I got this idea. Does it work both ways? How's it go?
Yeah, it depends really. Like varies from song to song. But with like Sunflower, which like we've recorded like a demo for, I remember I was just practicing. I don't really use a capo too much, so I thought I'd try one out, and then I just came up with like a little thing, and then I don't know. I just, if it sounds nice, I think just put it in, and yeah, I don't know. I haven't really talked about this, so it's a bit new. Yeah.
This is the new thing you're working on at the moment, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. So you had this idea with your guitar and you had the capo on.
Yeah.
What was it? A hook line, or what was it?
Yeah, it's just it's like I like playing with like chords and melodies at the same time on guitar. So then like the introduction has like that, and then in the chorus there's like a chord that like isn't in the key, say. But then I don't know. I listened to a lot of like Beatles at the time, and they used that chord a lot. So I thought it really like suited the song as well.
Come on, you got to tell us what the chord is now. Come on, what's the chord?
So it's like a major second chord. So like if you're in A, the chord would be B, and then it like lifts up the whole thing. And
all
it's
right,
like
yeah,
magical.
wow.
Oh, I love it.
I've been messing around with like covers over the kind of lockdown period and doing something called the headless sessions, where you don't see me but you just kind of hear the music. And today I put down a Leonard Cohen song. I don't know if you know like Leonard Cohen, but Suzanne, which is just such a beautiful song. And there's a couple of chords in there, and again I used the capo, and so my guitarist has got back to me and he's come up with these ideas. It's just kind of funny how it all spins around, isn't it? What did you have lyrics then, Yasmine, with that? Is that the way it works, or do you come up with the song idea that way?
So it's like Jack says, it kind of depends song to song, because I do not consider myself a guitarist whatsoever. I know basic chords. I know how to put a song together that's 3 chords or less. And sometimes I write a song and I get it kind of fully fleshed out lyrics wise, and kind of structural wise, and then I take my kind of basic chords to Jack, who makes them a billion times better. But in the case of Sunflower, we'd kind of been, I don't know, since we kind of changed over the band from it being just my project into Yasmine The Euphoria, which is much more of a collaboration between us all. Me and Jack started writing a lot more together instead of it being always me bringing songs to the table, because that's not where, we wanted everybody involved. So with Sunflower, for instance, I think, Jack, you came up with some parts and you had this idea, and then a lot of the time it's just when me and Jack hang out, and we'll just be messing around, and he'll start playing something or saying, oh, I've just written this the other day, what do you think? And then I started writing lyrics to that then, and we check with each other, and I think the chorus is maybe where I had maybe a little bit of say over the melody, but this is like I think I just had an idea of where I wanted to go vocally, and then luckily Jack is that talented that he can just put in the parts where they need to be, really. And then when we brought that to the band, then it's quite a long song. One thing that we do take pride in is our songs, of course, and a lot of the time we like a longer song because it gives us the opportunity to say more, I think. So I think the demo's like it's something maybe a little ridiculous, and we might have to edit it down for radio play, but we want this extended version of it on an album maybe one day, where we can have the option, or maybe a future EP, to have a radio edit and have the full version that we would do if we were playing it live for people.
Max, these extended versions, do they feature wailing 10-minute guitar solos from Jack? You as a bass player, could you want to speak out about this stuff?
Jack's solos are special, to be fair. But in this song, no, Jack doesn't really have. You don't have a solo in this song. It's just like pretty chords that just like work so well together. And my job as a bass man with the bass, I just got.
That's your job, the man with the bass.
I just got to lay it back, and I don't actually play until like the 24th minute of the song.
No, that's quite true. With a lot of our songs, we do have we like a good build up. I think we like to take people somewhere and make them listen at first, and then they can rock out with us. But with Sunflower especially, the ending is really where the drums and Max come in. But there's like, I think one of my favorite bass parts that Max has is in Euphoria, which is kind of the namesake of the band, really. But it's like, it's on our EP, and I think it's one of mine and Max's favorites. I don't know, like, we always talk about how much we love that song, and it's, I don't know, the bass in it is just something special. I think there's like this little run that he does. Well, in fact, Max, you talk about it because you do it. What
the middle bit?
Yeah, towards the the break where you have the rundown and then it like comes back in with the chorus.
Oh yeah, well there was just like a gap there, and I was like, there needs to be more bass fills in this.
Always.
Yeah, I
Yes.
just wung it, and it's just like I think Jack was playing like a D major chord, and I just like did a sort of like a very slidey D major rundown, like D major 7 rundown, and they're just like I don't know. I felt it worked with the song really well, and it's my favorite part of the song.
Well, understandably. But who do you look up to as bass players these days?
Oh my god. For this band, I'd say Michael League from Snarky Puppy.
Okay.
Or like I kind of categorize my favorite bass players in sort of older bass player like generation, and then new generation. I say like Michael League from Snarky Puppy is just like he's so melodic, and he's like so influenced by like older bass players like James Jamerson,
Yeah.
and all that sort of stuff. And it's just like they don't overplay. They just like play exactly what's needed, and that's exactly what being a bass player is about. Is like you got to be melodic and you got to be like rhythmic, and that's sort of what I hope I like bring to the band.
And
So I sort of like take all that and sort of like I
yeah.
met with my inspirations together, sort of like try and get my own sound, I think. And that's
I guess you have to kind of meld with what Ellie's playing. You have to find parts where you sort of rock solid on that. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, actually Ellie's playing like influences me quite a lot because she like plays like very intricate, like simple drumming, but like very intricate sort of detail. And I sort of try and pick up on that and then sort of add my own sort of bits to it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, of interest to me as well. I think it's interesting anyway, because I worked at the university where you guys are pretty well graduating from and moving on. But I was always really genuinely impressed with the standard of the musicianship that I came across with people on your course. Kind of across the board, really.
Yeah.
You were doing session stuff. You were working on 24-track studios and all the rest of it. You came in with me, did some acoustic session stuff, which I enjoyed doing. It took you into a different direction. But the musicianship was always kind of, really, really strong. And actually, I don't know, Jack, I'll ask you this one, but I don't know what you think about this. But what do you think? How much does musicianship within, if you like, popular music these days? How much does musicianship even matter?
It's quite tough, isn't it? And I'll have to pass this on to my colleague Yasmine from the band Yasmine and The Euphoria in Cardiff.
What a cop out!
Well, this is every scenario. They just know that I like to talk, so they just pass the mic to me. To be honest,
I mean, you know what I mean, though, don't you? We're talking about, and I don't want to come across as like a real, a boring old git sort of thing. But like back in the '70s, those bands you're talking about, they could all play their asses off, Whereas these days, everything's kind of, a lot of it is kind of auto-tuned and refined and, kind of machined. So I don't know how much musicianship matters. I hope it does,
I think for this band, it matters a lot because obviously the course that we've been on is like, you have to kind of meet requirements.
Yes.
And we like do it anyway because obviously want to get better. So I don't think it matters about other bands, but for us, I think definitely it's up there.
Yeah.
Good.
I think that's so true. Like, it can be, it does depend. Like, I think if you want to go down the pop artist route, or even maybe the solo, like if you're going to do solo artist work, like I think you really can get away with maybe not knowing music, all your music theory or chords and things like that. And theory isn't necessarily good musicianship. I know some people that maybe have the best theory minds and can sight read like you're reading a book, but they necessarily don't have the feel. So I think like as long as you have the core there, which is like usually a great love and respect for music, I think you can do what you want with that. But personally, with like our own stuff, I think we don't necessarily showboat, but I know that we like to show ourselves off because like we've worked really hard on the course that we're on, and
yes.
we've gained a lot of amazing skills, and that's from learning things from our tutors, but also learning things from the people that are on our course and the people who are at the same level as us on the team right now. Because like Max's other band, Bloom, who are absolutely amazing. If you haven't had a chance to see them, you should.
You're in Bloom as well, are you?
Yeah, I play bass and Bloom.
Yeah, yeah. Max gets around. He loves to play music.
Is he a bit of a bass playing tart? Would you say?
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit.
You're not the first person to say that.
We don't mind sharing him, because Bloom, the girls from Bloom, we have such a good relationship with those girls now because of Max. And I think that one of the nicest things about the vinyl sampler was that when I was looking through that list of different musicians, and there was a little shout out to some of the bands that were doing really well right now. I think it was ourselves, it was Club Fuzz, Bloom, and Adwife.
Yes.
All those bands have women in them.
Yeah.
And I think, like, as a woman in the music scene, it is dominated by men, and seeing represented.
Dominated by Max.
Yeah, I mean, Max is just around you playing bass for anyone.
Yeah. What can you do? That kind of misogynist in you missed,
Yeah, but yeah, I think it's such a nice thing to see, and but like musicianship at the moment in Cardiff, I mean, before Corona, I think like we were going to gigs all the time. I was going to gigs on my own and going to watch friends of mine, because we'd made so many great friends. Like Tom Morton had a big gig in Club Ivelbach before the virus shut us all down, and they're just amazing boys. And yeah, just the level of musicianship at the moment in Cardiff, I feel has to, everybody has to keep at their A game, because everybody's just so amazing. Like the music at the moment that's coming out of Cardiff, like it's beyond.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think musicianship matters depending what route you want to go down, I think.
Yeah. And of course, to a certain extent, you're almost like, you're not exactly a production line, but your course has been churning out these people who are kind of good to go, and ready to play. So, and then you do become part of the kind of scene, whether you're here, for the 3 years and move on, or whether, as a lot of you do, get to love Cardiff and stick around, which, hopefully you will. Talking about the Create Sampler, I don't know, maybe we'll just whiz around in it. I don't know whether you have actually had a good listen to it. I wonder, Jack, any of the tracks on there that you particularly like, of the other acts on that album?
Clayton.
Don't pass it back to her again. Go
on. Clayton, the rapper, who I actually played with him in Rockfield, like on the track.
How cool is that?
It was incredible, and he's just such a nice guy, and so skilled and hardworking. It's really inspiring to be around. So I think that's definitely my favorite track.
Max, have you got one?
I actually agree with Jack. I haven't
the stuff I've heard. I've liked loads of it. Just
yeah, it's all the talent on there is just like amazing.
Because there were like 50 tracks, I think. Apparently, you probably know this. They're whittled down to 15. So you did well. What about you, Yasmine? What tracks do you like on there? Or acts do you like who are on the album?
Well, I think we're going to get into the boys just dominating the industry, but Jack's other band, Otto, so he is a fellow Forte alumni, so he was on Forte last year, we're on this year.
Can you tell us a little bit about Forte for people who don't know?
Yeah, absolutely. So Forte is an artist development scheme that's based in South Wales, really, so you have to be in one of the boroughs to apply for it. But it's all about training, like learning about social media. You get, life coaching. You get tech. You get, technological, like kind of speeches that you have to go to, and well, not that you have to go to, but you can go to them. And they put on a lot of educational things for people who want to make it in the industry, people who want to make a career for themselves, and people who are songwriting, and they do provide some funding where they can, if there's certain things you might want to go do, people you might want to go meet, they try to make those things happen for you. They pay you up with somebody in the industry who becomes kind of a mentor to you, so that when if you have some more personal things that you want to discuss, like shaping your songwriting or things like that, then you have somebody that you can go to. Yeah. So they really do a lot. I gotta say, like Spike, Sean, Ed, Kaylee as well. They're all really good people to know, because they have so many vast contacts in South Wales. And they give you a lot of live gig opportunities, which is obviously the sad part that we're not getting at the moment. But they basically just give you support for a year in whatever way that means to you, whether that's maybe because some people on 40 this year haven't really got original material. Other people have got a surplus of original material. It really does depend on your independent, like your artist journey, where you are, and then they'll try and take you to the next level.
So you guys are pretty well, you've been pretty well prepped, haven't you? You've had, the tuition, the people you worked with at the university, the Forte stuff. You can all play. I guess you all read, and you're all kind of really set up to go with it. So you're in a really good place. Talking about the kind of the COVID-19 thing and whatever, any Max, because you play in about 20 bands, I mean, it must be affecting you more than the others, What's your kind of time scale? Do you have any kind of loose time scale on when you think you can get back out there and play?
I know, it just really will depend on what happens.
So what you do in the meantime, you're still you're still writing and learning parts and playing and recording, I suppose.
Yeah, I play bass every day. I like try and write for like both bands. I mean, like Yasmine and Bloom. I try to just like keep.
There's an interesting throwaway comment. This one's going to Bloom. This is a Bloom song.
No, yeah, I don't know. I just try to keep occupied and try to keep musical, to keep myself sane, I think.
I don't know, as a bass player, I suppose it's the same with a bass player. Do you have particular kind of practice exercises that you go through, or do you just play along to other tracks, or we've got a routine?
I just sort of have fun with it. I used to have like a really I used to have like quite an intense routine where I'd like warm up for like 15 minutes, just like doing like chromatic scales over and over again for like 15 minutes just to warm up my fingers, and then like have set times for like different sort of topics. But now it's just for the fun of it. I just love playing a lot, like clicking shuffle on Spotify and just sort of playing and improvising over whatever I can find, like no matter what. And I think that's a great way to keep a very creative mind. I think
I was watching a guy the other day on social media. I think he was from South America somewhere, I think, but he was like watching these. You might have seen this. He was watching sort of cartoon kind of stuff. Like in the old days when people used to play along in the movies.
Yeah.
So, it was a game. Did you see it? Like it was like a really old fashioned like 1970s arcade game. And he's doing all the the music as the little characters going
like Space Invaders or something like that.
Yeah, something is mad as that. Yeah. So maybe there's a role for you there in bass playing.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm sure they'll take him. Everybody does.
But it looked like great fun anyway. What about you guys in terms of, obviously you can't play at the moment? It's very frustrating. Have you got, I don't know, it might seem a weird thing to say, but we got something you'd want to say, maybe Yasmine, to because you've got a fan base. Do you want to talk anything you want to say to people who've come to see your gigs over time?
Well, for anybody who's ever come to any one of our gigs, I have to say, like, thank you, because without them, what are we? A big part of what we do is to, I guess, make people happy, which is coming back to why we went for Euphoria, the name. I think a big thing was we want to bring joy to people. We want to have an experience with people, and I think if you've ever seen us live, I think that hopefully has come across. And I think just I guess we want to just create a community around the band, people that love our music for whatever reason. Some people love certain songs, some people might prefer some over the other, and that's absolutely fine as well. But I think thank you for anybody who's come to a show, bought a piece of merch, or even other bands that have given us a little shout out if we've gotten onto the bill with them as well, because that's always really important, I think, is for us to shine a spotlight on whoever it is that we're working with, or whoever it is we're going to play with next. And we really gutted that we had some really big gigs coming up, and we were ready to set off on that rocket ship for all those, and we're going to come back and we're going to stay and try and make it work. And when we come back onto the scene and we're able to play again, it's going to be a wild non-stop party is what it's going to be. It's exciting.
I think you should. I like the idea of tying in the word euphoria to the rocket ship. You know, for your album, when you got that album together, you know, we're back on the rocket ship or something. You know, but I did watch some of your performances at Porter's, and I was amazed how good the sound was. Actually, I don't know how you managed to record that so well, but the sound was great.
Yeah. What gig was this?
You did some gigs at Porter's, and I think you were headlining the Porter's, and there was like a few videos you were playing various songs. I think I'm right in saying that. Was it Porter's? I think it was. And the sound was very, very good.
Is that perhaps the Foxy Roxy sessions?
May well be, yes.
Because I think they are on YouTube, and we've shared those videos a lot. And those were taken literally just before. But I do know what you mean, because Porter's kind of looks, it's very homely.
Yeah.
But I think the videos you're talking about are the Foxy Roxy sessions we did with those guys, and that's really what they do is get bands in a room. It's actually a little like I don't know, outhouse / shed / like garage.
Really? Is it?
Yeah, it's literally like a garage.
Okay.
At the back of these girls' house.
Wow.
Do you know Holiday in the Mind? No, so Holiday in the Mind, so the two singers from there, Violet and Gemma Humphreys, as well as Reem and Ruba, those two, it's interesting as well. So you got two of them are twins, and then the other two are sisters as well. So it's really like they all live together in this lovely house. And they set up in their little garage at the back of the house, and have kitted it all out with a studio.
All right.
And record it in their space, and it's really just like to showcase talent. There's a lot of videos on this, so anybody who hasn't subscribed, and if you love Cardiff music, you should go check it out, because there's more than just us on there. And especially they've started doing their own music projects as well, since they obviously can't have artists come in anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, those videos are amazing quality.
I thought that makes more sense now. I thought it was a Porter's, maybe just the way the angle it was set up at, but it was really well filmed, and the sound was great. So it makes more sense now. We do it. Well done to them for doing that. If there's any stuff you want to send across to keep Cardiff Live, any kind of links or whatever, and you know when you got gigs going on or you got video stuff and whatever, then just send it over and we'll get it out for you. But apart from that, thank you very much. What I really like about Zoom is it shows people's names, and that's a really good aid for me, because of my age.
Yeah,
I need all the help I can get. But thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.